Be me, Alex, 30-something, head of infrastructure operations for Veridian Communications, a regional ISP. My kingdom is the blinking server racks, the hum of the cooling systems, the fortress of our primary data center. I live and breathe uptime, redundancy, and the intricate dance of our RAID arrays. My team ensures your internet stays on, your calls connect, and your data is safe, even from our own corporate stupidity. Be not me, Brent Sterling, our new chief digital officer, hired straight from some venture capital-backed disruptor startup. Brent looks like he was sculpted from expensive suits and bad coffee. He's all smiles and buzzwords, a walking, talking PowerPoint slide deck, and utterly convinced he knows more about our core infrastructure than the people who built it. His mantra, loudly proclaimed in every meeting, is "move fast, break things." He just forgot to add and then blame someone else. The first red flag fluttered in during his second week. Brent called me into his office, a chrome and glass monstrosity that smelled vaguely of desperation and new carpet. He wanted immediate, unfettered access to our Tier 1 routing protocols. He said he needed to optimize throughput for a proprietary AI-driven CDN solution. I explained, patiently, that Tier 1 was production critical, subject to a stringent change control board, and had a mandatory 72-hour review period. Any direct changes required C-suite approval and a detailed rollback plan due to the potential for a citywide outage. Brent scoffed. He leaned back in his leather chair, a smirk playing on his lips. "Alex, my dear man, that's just legacy thinking. We're agile here. I need to push this through today. Can you just override those bureaucratic hurdles? I'll take full responsibility." He even gave a dismissive wave of his hand, as if responsibilities were flies to be shooed away. I calmly stated that overriding would violate our system's integrity directive, VCSID 3.12, and could lead to severe penalties, including termination. He just repeated, "I said I'll take responsibility." I documented his explicit verbal instruction in my daily log and sent a formal email summarizing the conversation, copying his executive assistant. No action was taken by him then, but the seed was planted. Interaction 2, about a month later. Brent decided our backup infrastructure, my pride and joy, was inefficient. He proposed migrating 40 petabytes of our customer data, including highly sensitive financial records, to an unproven third-party cloud provider in a jurisdiction with lax data protection laws. He'd signed a preliminary deal without consulting legal, security, or my team. I pointed out the glaring security risks, the non-compliance with our service-level agreements, and the sheer logistical nightmare. Our current system was an on-premises, triple-redundant RAID 60 array, geographically dispersed. It was slow but ironclad. He countered with talk of synergy and leveraging economies of scale. He insisted it would save money. I asked for the cost analysis report. He mumbled something about it being proprietary and still in development. I then brought up the Veridian Communications data custodianship policy, specifically sections 2.4 and 3.1, which mandated encrypted, on-site redundancy for all customer data. He dismissed it as outdated boilerplate and ended the meeting, declaring the migration would proceed. Again, I sent a detailed email outlining my concerns, citing specific policy violations, and documenting his direct order to proceed, including the lack of a proper cost analysis or security audit. Again, he ignored it, but his PA confirmed receipt. The breaking point arrived 2 weeks after that. Brent decided our main data center firewall was overly restrictive. He was trying to implement a new dynamic routing solution directly onto our core network gateway, something that required deep packet inspection and non-standard port configurations. This was the exact kind of high-risk change my team managed. He had been trying to get my network engineers to implement it, but they, being competent professionals, refused without proper change request, CR, documentation, risk assessments, and a staging environment test. He summoned me to his office, his face tight with controlled rage. "Alex," he began, his voice dangerously low, "I understand you're obstructing progress. My engineers are telling me you're refusing them access to the core gateway." I corrected him. "Sir, my engineers are following protocol. Your proposed changes bypass our entire change control framework, including critical security review and compliance checks. This would expose our network to significant vulnerabilities." He slammed his fist on the desk. "I am the Chief Digital Officer. I need administrator privileges, direct access to bypass the firewall and deploy this update. Today, I will not have my strategic initiatives crippled by your bureaucratic red tape." He was practically seething. This wasn't just about a firewall. It was about bypassing every safeguard. This change, if implemented incorrectly, could bring down the entire Veridian network. It was eerily similar to that large telecom outage that happened a few months back, attributed to a botched network configuration during maintenance. I looked him dead in the eye. "Sir, our Executive Override Protocol, EOP, 4.7 allows for direct executive intervention in critical systems, but it explicitly states that the requesting executive assumes full and sole liability for any and all resulting outages, data breaches, or financial losses if standard protocols are not followed. It also requires a formal written request outlining the specific override, the security risks being circumvented, and the justification for urgency." Brent didn't miss a beat. He snatched a company letterhead from his desk, scribbled furiously, and shoved it across to me. It was a single sentence. "I, Brent Sterling, CDO, demand immediate admin access to the core network gateway to implement critical updates, bypassing all standard procedures due to business urgency. I accept all responsibility." He signed it with a flourish. "There," he sneered. "Now give me the credentials, Alex, or consider yourself insubordinate." At that moment, something inside me clicked. The read-only mode engaged. The argument stopped. I took the signed note, carefully folded it, and placed it into my folder. "Very well, Mr. Sterling," I said, my voice completely neutral. "I will provision a temporary, time-limited administrative shell with direct access to the core network gateway. It will expire in exactly 2 hours. It requires multi-factor authentication, which I will provide to you personally. I am legally obligated to inform you that this action voids our insurance policy for network failures during its active period and places your personal liability under EOP 4.7 at its maximum." He just waved me off, already turning to his monitor. My plan unfolded with the precision of a well-oiled machine. I immediately accessed the corporate bylaws, specifically Article VII, Section 3, concerning executive liability and gross negligence. I cross-referenced it with the Employee Handbook, Section 5.2, reporting malfeasance and systemic risks. The key was the Executive Override Protocol, EOP 4.7, which Brent had so blithely invoked. It was designed for genuine emergencies, where seconds mattered, but also built as a fail-safe to protect the operational teams by explicitly transferring all blame to the executive who used it outside of established procedures. I didn't just provide the credentials. I logged into our secure change management system, which thankfully had an audit trail feature that couldn't be tampered with. I created a new entry, referencing Brent's signed directive, detailing the exact permissions granted, the duration, and explicitly stating, "Executive Override Protocol 4.7 invoked by Brent Sterling, CDO." I attached a scanned copy of his signed note. I even generated a unique, one-time use secure token for his multi-factor authentication, which would expire with the shell access, making it impossible for him to claim lingering access issues. Then I meticulously documented everything. Screenshots of his initial email regarding the AI-driven CDN solution and my detailed response. My follow-up email about the data migration, citing policy violations. Every single communication, every ignored warning. I cross-referenced the network gateway system logs, knowing that any direct changes he made would be stamped with his temporary administrative user ID. I forwarded all this information encrypted to a secure, off-site repository accessible only to me, just in case. My team, sensing the shift, adopted the same silent, methodical approach. We continued our routine operations, monitoring the network, but our eyes were glued to the core gateway logs. We knew what was coming. It wasn't a question of if, but when. I made sure our backup systems were running perfectly, our RAID arrays humming, our disaster recovery plan updated and ready. Because when Brent broke things, my job was to make sure what could be saved would be saved. The silence in the data center that afternoon was heavy, punctuated only by the low thrum of the servers. Then, the first alarm blared. It was a Tier 3 alert: network instability detected in Sector Alpha. Within minutes, a cascade. Tier 2, then Tier 1. Routers began dropping connections. The city's internet went dark. Phones lost service. The Veridian network, the lifeline for hundreds of thousands, flatlined. The clock on my console showed 3:17 p.m., the exact time Brent's 2-hour temporary admin access had minutes left. Brent burst into the data center, his face ashen, phone plastered to his ear. "What is happening, Alex?" he shrieked, his composure completely gone. "The network is down. I'm getting calls from the mayor's office, the press. Fix this immediately." He pointed a trembling finger at me. "This is your fault. You must have botched the access. You sabotaged my update." I remained perfectly calm. "Mr. Sterling," I said, my voice cutting through the panic. At 3:15 p.m., exactly 2 minutes before the network went dark, system logs show user B. Sterling Tempedman initiated a force reconfigure primary routing table command on the core gateway, followed by multiple attempts to override checksum verification. My team has preserved all relevant logs. I pulled out a tablet displaying the irrefutable evidence. Furthermore, per EOP 4.7, which you invoked, and your signed directive, which I have here, I pulled out the crisp paper, you assumed full and sole liability for any and all resulting outages. Your temporary admin access expired at 3:17 p.m. The outage began at 3:17 p.m., exactly when your faulty configuration script destabilized the network. His jaw dropped. He stammered, "No, that's impossible. I just pushed a minor update. You were supposed to test it." "Sir, you explicitly bypassed all standard procedures and testing environments," I stated, gesturing to the monitor displaying his digital signature on the change management system. "My team attempted to follow up, but you dismissed them. We have documented every interaction. The company's legal counsel and the CEO are already en route. I believe they'll want to see this." The fallout was swift and devastating. The CEO arrived within the hour, his face a thundercloud. He took one look at my meticulously compiled evidence, the signed directive, the timestamps. Brent, sputtering excuses and accusations, was escorted out by corporate security within 30 minutes, his security badge revoked on the spot. Veridian Communications issued a public apology, citing an unauthorized and unsanctioned system modification by a recently departed executive. The press went wild. The city council held an emergency session. The mayor, furious, threatened massive fines for the network outage and potential contract breaches. Our legal team went into overdrive, preparing a lawsuit against Brent for gross negligence and breach of contract, citing EOP 4.7. Our insurance policy, as I had warned, denied coverage for the incident, pushing the financial burden directly onto Veridian, who in turn pushed it onto Brent Sterling. His disruptor startup, already on shaky ground, saw its valuation plummet overnight, investors bailing en masse. Update, Week 2. Brent's official termination notice hit the internal portals. Fired for cause, specifically citing repeated violations of corporate policy, gross negligence, and actions resulting in significant financial and reputational damage to the company. My team worked around the clock to restore full service, meticulously undoing Brent's optimizations. The network was back up within 24 hours, but the cleanup continued for days. Upper management gave my team a significant bonus and instituted new, even stricter change control protocols, explicitly naming them Sterling protocols as a grim reminder. I got a promotion and a substantial raise. Update Month 1. The lawsuit against Brent Sterling formally commenced. Veridian Communications is suing him for damages exceeding $50 million, covering lost revenue, fines, reputational damage, and the costs of the system recovery. Turns out, his proprietary AI-driven CDN solution was just a cheap, off-the-shelf routing script he found online, patched together by an intern, completely untested and riddled with vulnerabilities. His former disruptor startup officially filed for bankruptcy, leaving him with nothing but a mountain of legal bills and a very public downfall. Update. Month 3. Saw a headline in the local business journal. Former CDO Brent Sterling declares personal bankruptcy amidst Veridian lawsuit. His expensive suits and flashy car were likely repossessed. Last I heard, he's trying to consult for some obscure startup in a different state, but his reputation precedes him. The irony isn't lost on me. He wanted to move fast, break things. And he did. He broke his entire life, and all I had to do was let him. The silence in the data center is back to its usual hum, but now it feels a little more peaceful.